It's time for another Dice Tower review with Zee Garcia.
Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here. Today I am taking a look at Dreamwell, which is a tile traversal sort of game in which you are finding your friends that have been lost to a dream and manipulating your little characters, trying to be clever with some card play and come out ahead at the end. Let me just give you an overview of how the game operates so you'll see what I'm talking about, and then I'll tell you what I think of it. Here we go. To set up the game, we are going to shuffle up the tiles and lay them out randomly in a pattern like this, 4x4. Every player is given 2 standees in whatever color they choose, and then you got also a little token that looks like that to represent your color. And then we are going to, I'm going to set up just a game here for 2 players. I'll put this over here somewhere. And then each player is also given 2 cards from the deck of cards. And by the way, the cards that I'm playing with now are the light bordered one, but you can choose to shuffle in these dark bordered cards if you want to play the advanced game. I'm not going to be showing you that, but that's one of the differences in setup. And then you are pretty much ready to begin. The objective of the game is to have the most victory points when the whole thing is over. And so I will start on my turn, and I will get 3 actions. Every player gets 3 actions back and forth until the game is over. And the options are pretty straightforward. So first thing I can do is I can move. To move means if my one of my tokens is already on the board, and I'm going to just lay him down like this so you can see where he's at a little bit more clearly, even though they come with a little standee. So I can move. That means I can move this character out of one of the doors on the tile to the adjacent tile, and that's one action, moving. The first time that they come on the board, they come from the outside, and they can come onto any edge. So if he's outside here, I can bring him onto that tile there. That's one action. However, these little doors sometimes line up, and if you cross one of those, then that part of the movement is free and you can continue to move. And so, let's say I am on this tile here, and I wish to move. Well, I can move from here to here and continue moving because 2 doors happen to line up there, and so I can go from here to here and then from here to here. And you can sometimes even string a long chain of movement together. So for instance, if I am here, I can go through both of these together, then go through both of these because they're lining up, and then go through there, and that's a single action, all right? So first thing, move. I'll just leave them out there for now. Second thing I can do is I can rotate a tile. Pick one up, rotate it freely, put it back down. It has to be either empty or one that I am on. If my opponent is on it, and this is my opponent green, then I cannot rotate that one. Next choice I can take is I can play one of my cards, okay? Now, to play a card, and this is the integral part of how these go out, there are 3 things I need to satisfy. I need to be on the 2 critters at the top, and I must be on the background that is shown on the card as well. So, for instance, let's say I'm going to take this little standoff here as well. For me to play this, I need to be on this critter here, and I need to be on this critter here, and one of those 2 has to have that background, which this one does. I can then play this card in front of me. The card has 2 pieces of information, how it will score at the end of the game, and some special action that allows me either immediately one time or something that continues to be available to me until I cover it up. The way it's covered up is once I play this, if I later on play another card, it will cover half of that one, so the half that had that bonus. And I will just leave this part revealed, which is how I score at the end of the game, all right? So that's how that works, and that is playing a card. After that, the other options are you can draw a card, you can take one from the display here, replace it. You do have a hand limit in the game. You can replace the display, which is getting rid of all of these, and drawing a new set and playing them out, a new grouping of 4, assuming you're looking for something a little more specific. And then the last action, which is only in the advanced game, is you can flip a tile. You can take one of the tiles and flip it over and line up the doors the exact same way they just were. The front of the tiles do tell you what's on the back of the tile, so it's not a memory element. You know exactly what you're going to get. And again, that's only if you want to play the advanced game, which is with the tile flipping and with the dark bordered cards over here. All right? So that's basically it. You're going to continue doing that, moving around the board, sometimes moving off the edge, sometimes moving back onto the board, which you are allowed to do. You can leave one edge and come back for a different action onto another place. Trying to be tricky with your placement, trying to be careful with the order in which you play cards, because sometimes playing one card first and then the other will help you get a bonus from the first to then use it on the second. If you played them the other way, it would not be as beneficial. And basically trying to manipulate the board so that you're the one that is in control. And when the game is over, which is when someone has played 7 cards in front of them, or 10 at the advanced version, then we finish out. So everybody has the same number of turns and you add up your score, okay? The cards have either straight up victory points, like this one has a 3 and a heart there. That's just 3 points. Some of them give you number of points per character, so 2 per each of her, and all these characters have names, by the way, I just don't know them. So if you had this card early on in your hand, you might want to try to make sure that you get cards that have that friend of yours in the middle there. Sometimes they score based on the backgrounds you have been accumulating, different sets, things like that. You add up all your scores, you see who the winner is, and that is the game. There's a lot to like in this little game. I like the look of the game. The artwork is very evocative. Now, I can understand some people might find it too busy or obtrusive, but I think it's charming in a very quirky sort of way. I like the turns that are 3 actions, so it's not so many that you spend a lot of time figuring out what you want to do, but it's enough that you sort of have to solve a little puzzle each time it's your turn. You have to figure out, how do I get where I'm going? How do I play what I want to play? And conserve my actions. Do this in the most clever way possible. You know, sometimes you want to rotate a tile, and that's the best way to get there. Sometimes you want to go off the board and come back elsewhere, and that's the best way to get someplace. You know, so I like that. Your turns are quick, but they're kind of crunchy, and it gives you some cool things to tackle. And then, of course, if you play with the advanced variant there, then you can also flip a tile to get to something you need a little quicker, you know. I like the play length. It's pretty short, and it's a punchy game, you know. And so I like all of those things. A couple of things I don't like. The game's obviously abstract, very, you know, it's you just moving. The artwork could have been anything, you know. So it's got that going on. And so if you're someone who does not enjoy games that have an abstract nature, you might not like this. And then the standees, I wasn't really a huge fan of. I don't like those. The artwork on them is fine, very simple, but they do obstruct the field of view sometimes a little more than I'd like them to. So maybe a small pawn or something, you know, would have been a little bit better. Even if it doesn't feature more artwork on there, it would have been a little easier to tackle everything. So, but that's really it. Those are very minor quibbles I have with the game. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a very attractive, quirky package that you should definitely check out if you enjoy that puzzly positional idea and playing cards at just the right time. So there you have it. That is Dreamwell. Check this one out.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.